Call the meeting to order, and we get a report out of closed session, please.
We have an item in closed session. We have an employee requesting a leave for educational reasons. If they were a teacher, it would be called a sabbatical, but it's classified, and we granted that unanimously because we want them to grow academically, hopefully take a more prominent role for us.
And WTA comments.
All right. Yeah, I just have two things. One is we're appreciative of that MOU that we were able to sign with the district, granting extension of the time that people could gather units, and so it helped a certain teacher, but it helped probably everyone, and I think that that's something that we need to probably negotiate because of the changing times of how technology is used for getting units and education and all. So it just seemed like it was a win-win for everyone. I appreciate that. Also, I wanted to say thanks to CSEA and the Blosser PTO, Brookside PTO, and AAUW for helping to sponsor this candidates forum that's on the 18th, and I think is a good thing for our community to be able to see the candidates and have them answer questions. So,
And who would know better than you right now? You've been doing it a few.
and so it's at 6:30 at the Alan Garcia Auditorium, and hope to see you all there. Thank you.
CSEA comments. Dan.
Good evening, everyone. Things are going good with the school classified staff. Wheels seem to be turning very good at school, so things are looking good. And I'd like to touch on John's candidates forum thing. We got together, and everybody's sitting down again Thursday to come up with some pretty grueling questions for everybody. So we hope to really get you good. But no, we really would appreciate everybody showing up to the forum, and then the public's input too. I think would be great. We'll come up with the format and everything, and I think it'll be a good time for everybody. Thank you.
Will that be televised?
Not televised, but recorded and then put out later.
Okay.
There was some talk about Channel 3 or something, the local Channel 2, they might try to do something on
Well,
that.
they would broadcast a recording. They wouldn't
Okay.
broadcast it live.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
they
know
only
we're
do
gonna
recordings.
record it and put it on our
Yeah.
website too.
Yeah, we're just working on the audio part of it, so they'll record it, but they need an audio version.
I'll send my skilled technician over there to,
He's already on board.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think he's got a plan.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
I just have a question. Did the questions come from around, or is it just a committee that you are making? I mean, at one time I thought there were input for questions. Is that still happening, or is that done and you're at the next part, or what happened to that?
Well, for WTA, we put out a request for questions for our membership. And so we're gathering those. And I don't know how the other units are doing
The
it.
CSCA put out a request for questions too. We've gathered some questions, and I believe Thursday we're meeting up with the PTO groups and the WTA and the CSCA, and we're gonna talk about some questions up front, some good questions to use, and then how we're gonna have so many minutes for this and try so many minutes for that, and then so many minutes for public input, and who's gonna be a timer and who's gonna be a moderator, and we've got the stage pretty much set. We know all those things. So we're just gathering the questions together and see if we can put it together so it tries to be fair for everybody and try to keep it to just school district stuff and nothing else but that.
Okay, did you kind of decide on a limit of questions, or,
I think that's gonna be worked out
oh, that's what
tomorrow.
you're doing Thursday or whatever? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Are
Just
the
don't make it
candidates-
like Supreme Court nomination.
Are the candidates going to be provided those questions in advance?
Yeah, that, thank you.
WTA was thinking about giving the candidates all the questions that had been submitted, but not telling the specific questions. So we'd give them an idea about what to be thinking about, but we wanted to have some kind of spontaneity and everything, so,
Okay. And you'll know that Thursday too, or?
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll decide on that.
We were hoping maybe, have maybe 4 questions or 5 questions that would be generic to everybody, that maybe would be given early and everybody could have a written response that we could touch on at the meeting or something, and then maybe that could be something that would be put in the paper as a question response, and some of them from the audience and stuff would of course be on the spot, maybe directed at a certain person or a draw of the hat type of situation. We want to try to not make it so somebody could get up and then try to just drill one person. Or at the same point, everybody answering the same question, so the 5th person in line's got all kinds of great answers already without their own answers. It's a learning curve.
Should be an interesting evening. Superintendent comments. I'll start with,
Let's start with Claire, she kind of the roster.
Hi, I'm Claire Case-Brackett. I was here last meeting, but this meeting I'm here as the board rep for Willits High School. I'm a sophomore here. I'm involved in volleyball, FFA, high school rodeo, basketball, and leadership. And I look forward to representing the students this year at our meetings. One thing I have for FFA this month is we are having an alumni dinner. It's October 20th, and tickets are $25 for one plate or $200 a table. On the table, you don't get a price cut, but it comes with 2 bottles of wine. And I will have tickets after the meeting if you're interested. Thank you.
Claire is very well connected. She's in lots of groups and lots of activities, and she can answer lots of student questions.
perfect. Wonderful. Director Chavez.
Really no comment other than that I'm very honored to sit next to Claire here. She's an amazing student. Her accomplishments at such a young age is quite astounding. So thank you for sitting near her.
Director Carter.
I'm just going to say welcome, Claire. Glad to see you come aboard, and that's really great and really good for our board.
Thanks.
And I echo those same comments. Welcome aboard. Thank you. I missed the last meeting, I apologize, but had a chance to go over the budget, asked Nikki a number of questions this afternoon. They got me kind of clarified on a few things. Other than that, kind of looking forward to see how the things unfold on the 18th. So.
Yeah, because you're not in it.
None of this time. Moving on down.
Superintendent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Couple things. One is I had a chance now to be in some of the elementary classrooms doing the unlocking the code, and I've been really pleased to see they've really taken it to heart and are doing a great job with it. Especially an in-service we had last week on a Tuesday afternoon. All of the K-5 teachers came together, asking questions and going through how to do it correctly. So I'm seeing really good results, and I'm seeing everybody kind of on the same page, which is really a good thing. The middle school, high school has now kind of figured out how to connect the Tuesdays to make them really effective. I think our Tuesday time is a lot more effective now, especially with the change in busing. We have time to meet and get something accomplished. So, congratulations to the bus drivers. I think they finally have sorted out all the new runs and all the new people. Now the issue for them is just keeping the bus drivers healthy and able to work. So I'm hoping that Jenna will have 2 more drivers trained and ready to go fairly soon here in October. So we'll be fully staffed there. The food service change that we went to, where all the students have the opportunity to have a lunch provided for them at no charge. Our numbers seem to have been going up in almost every place. Will they go up significantly enough to cover the potential additional costs? We'll find that out. And that'll be Nikki's problem, probably about May or so, to sort that out. I can tell you from parents' perspectives, I've had multiple parents come to me and say, we're really glad you did that. It was difficult for us to pay the bill and to keep track of it and to do the due diligence. And when you have a couple kids at school, it's about $900 a year to have your child go through food service. And so I think it's going to pay off some benefits. Some other things, the homecoming for the high school, you know, the football game didn't turn out so well, but everything around it was really good. The dance was well done, the parade, the kids' rally on Wednesday night was awesome. Even the teachers did a skit that was funny, and it was well done. It was a good week of homecoming, and that's always a good thing. That's about climate and culture, and so I felt really good about how that went off. And they're making a lot of good strides. All of the buildings seem to be academically pretty focused and seem to be running really well. So it's been a good start.
Very good, thank you. Public comments on the consent agenda. I believe Mr. Neary asked us to hold item number 11 out
Yeah,
before he left. And
family medical leave. Or family care and that.
do we need to do any changes to the with the approval of the agenda for that, or we can just withhold that?
Which,
Item number 11, the 11.
do you want me to pull that and you'll vote on it when he returns?
Correct.
Yeah, we'll move that to next month.
Oh, is he,
He's not going to be able to come back.
okay, thank you.
So let's move that to next month. That's something we want to do a little homework on.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, less item number 11.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing no discussion, call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. And here we'll convene a public hearing, sufficiency of textbooks.
I think we can wait a couple more minutes. Can we jump to maybe item E?
D?
E?
E. Certainly. Let's see, item number E is approval of an agreement with State Water Resources Control Board. It's a resolution 2018-19-6. And if you give us some background.
I'm asking the board to approve a resolution that allows me to submit a grant to this water resource board to help resolve our drinking fountain issues. The only district in the state that's been qualified and got their funding approved is Covelo. And so I met with Mike, I went up to Covelo and met with Mike and looked at their grant. And between Trina and myself, had the grant almost completed with the exception of 2 parts. And so I'll finish those up this week and submit that grant. What the grant is asking for is to purchase a number of, they call them filtration stations. It's chilled and filtered water that you can fill a bottle and the drinking fountain. And for example, at Blosser, what we did at Blosser, we put 4 of them in and shut the drinking fountains off because we couldn't get the water to be where we needed it to be. And so this would add more to them. It would put in about 10 of them at Brookside. Brookside's water doesn't have any contaminations in it, but what happens at Brookside, it's really old metal piping. It is at the end of the city's run. So about every 2 to 3 weeks, the city does a flush of their pipes, and when they do, the water at Brookside turns dark. It does at my house. over there. So it's not anything wrong with the water, it doesn't look good, and it's hard to tell a first grader, no, go ahead, it's fine. It may look muddy, but it's good. But we need to resolve that issue. You know, we have a building from the 50s, and since then, you know, we need to fix some water issues. This will resolve that issue by putting these filtration stations around the campus. My guess is the PTOs would move to get the kids a bottled water, plastic bottle for water in the rooms. And instead of having a drinking fountain in every room. Because we just physically can't afford to go through and fix the plumbing in every single room, in every room in the district. It's just not a reasonable thing to have happen. It would put one at Sanhedrin, 3 at the middle school, and 3 at the high school. And it's kind of the way folks drink water now, is through bottles and filtered and cooled and all that stuff. So this units cost about $2,500 a piece, and there's about a $900 installation that goes with it. Our people can install them. Again, it's just finding the time to get them done, because we have lots of maintenance things to get done. But that's the best resolution to our water system based on the age of the buildings and the structure we have. And if we can get it paid for, that would be great.
Is the grant open-ended?
No.
So
Which
there's
is,
a sunset?
yeah, there's a submittal time, and it's kind of, the iron is hot right now to get it in.
It's a first come, first serve, I think.
It is. It is, and so I'm pressing the gas pedal to get it done, to get it in. And we have some compelling data we put together that I think will help us. And so hopefully we will get granted for that, and we'll be talking about filtration stations. Very similar, in fact, exactly what's at Blosser right now.
Okay, entertain a motion?
I move we approve item G.
I'll second.
Okay. Any public comment?
At the schools, the water still comes through on the water part, just not through the drinking fountain, so that each classroom still has a faucet that they can use.
Yeah.
The water comes through for whatever. It's just the drinking fountain part isn't working.
Right. What we did at Blosser, for example, was we put in the filtration stations, and then maintenance went in and unhooked the button for the fountain, so they don't drink out of the fountain.
Right, but the faucet part.
The faucet still works fine.
Oh,
Yeah, the plumbing's fine. The issue is getting a clean, filtered water source. And the only way to do that is to put an external device on. And an external device, you could go underneath every single sink and put in a filtering device in a unit. It's about $200 a room, plus you have to change the filter about every 3 months. These filtration stations have like a year-long cycle before you change the filter. It's chilled, filtered, and they work really well. And so it's a better alternative than what we have now. I can't go in and replumb all the rooms. And so we'll still have the sinks available to wash stuff out and do all that. But the drinking part of the water, we can change.
And so what does that do in the winter? Is there, I mean, Brookside used to have frozen pipe issues, and there wouldn't be drinking fountains for a long while, months, that is.
Right.
So
And
is that-
those drinking fountains are off the campus, they're not attached to the building. So what we did at Blosser was we went into where there's like the furnace rooms around the building. These drinking fountains have an open space behind them. And we left some exposure to that and insulated it. We think they'll make it through the winter without that. But if they don't, there's some things we can do we could do some heat tape and other things to them if we had to. But I don't think we're gonna have to. And it's our best alternative based on the age of our buildings to do this, because it would cost, it'd probably be $1 million just to replumb Blosser. And that's just not gonna happen.
And so it has like, I mean, I haven't seen them obviously, so they have like little sheds or whatever? I mean, it's
No.
like a, There's a roof over it, or,
No, it's sitting under the roof right now.
oh, okay.
It's right in the walkways. So if you imagine between the bathrooms and the walkways, it's put right into the wall,
At Blossom.
underneath the eave. Yep. And we would do the same at Brookside. We would put them underneath the walk, they're not gonna get rained on and iced over and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So that the kids could have access without
Yeah,
getting wet.
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, the outside faucets that freeze are the ones that are out on the playground.
Or
And
in the
they're-
hall, that too, that was an issue before, so that's why I'm real curious.
Yep, it's the best we can do based on what we have, and the water sample and quality from a chilled, filtered Ecolac, is that how they say their name, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great product.
So we got to that point at Blosser because we did some testing and found problems with the water at Blosser.
Right.
Is there a testing process to show when we need to change the filters on these devices, or to ensure that
Actually, the
They are-
device tells you.
the device does?
And so the real issue for us is not what's in the water or anything. It's the color of the water. It's not chilled. It's not filtered. It's not conducive to filling a water bottle, you know?
That's fine at Brookside, but at Blosser, there was another issue. So
Right.
my question there is there a way to ensure that the filter is continuing to do its job over time, as opposed to, should we have changed it 6 months ago and find out that we're just passing the same water through?
Yeah. We have tests that we run. Yeah, and every year when they do the city comes through and actually tests our water for us. Scott Herman from the city has been really helpful testing.
When we install those units, they have to be near water and electricity and a drain. So typically they're going in nearer the restrooms because we already have those supplies there. And the water in the restrooms passes through the pipes more than any other place on the school, so the water quality is the best at the restrooms because of that. And there is internal meters inside the units that'll tell you how many quarts you have left. And then if it has a countdown, it can filter so much water, and then when it gets there, it goes a red light, and it says you need to change the filter. And so we have to somebody just tells us, and then we go there and put a new filter into them. Just pull the bottom out, change the filter out, and replace it.
It's a very simple process, and they're used all over.
And each child has a water bottle?
No, not yet, but they will. That's something I envision PTO probably moving to that, where classrooms would have a set of water bottles. Right now at Brookside, a lot of parents are just supplying regular water bottles, like a pack of 24 of them, because they don't like the look of the water. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with the water, it's the look of it. This is the only resolution we can do.
In my grandson's class at Blosser, they have metal bottles? And is that what each child's gonna get?
They go out and use the filtration station. Yeah. It's not a drinking fountain anymore, it's a filtration station.
Well, it has a drinking fountain on it, so
Yeah.
you can drink as a drinking fountain, and in the back of it is a water filler. So you put it in there and then you bunch of water into your cup.
So this is a resolution, so it's a roll call. And so calling for the vote, Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Carney?
Aye.
Aye.
And for myself, aye. Clock is too low.
It's okay now.
It's 5:47.
Or 5:55.
So we will,
Yeah.
Going back to C.
we will go back to C. And we will convene a public hearing on the sufficiency of textbooks. Ed Code, section 60119 requires that in order to be eligible for certain state funding for textbooks, the governing board shall adopt on an annual basis a resolution with respect to textbooks and instructional materials availability, and affirm that each pupil in each school in the district has or will have sufficient textbooks or instructional materials, or both, in each subject that are consistent with the content and of and cycles of curriculum framework adopted by the state board. The board welcomes public input. Anything further on that, Mark?
Better known as the Williams count,
Yeah.
where we employ adults to come up and count to 30 in books.
And they do.
Usually it's the teacher.
And do we need to take action on this?
We do. Or no, I'm sorry, we will on D.
Okay.
We just open and close the.
All right. So moving on to D, the approval of sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional materials, resolution number 2018/19-5. And any public comment? And entertain a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2018/19-5.
I'll second.
And second and approved. Any board discussion? And it's a resolution, so Chavez?
Aye.
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 Oh, and myself, aye. And I'm assuming we need to close the public hearing? So failing any further discussion, we will close the public hearing. And motion carries. On to item F, approval of application with NCUA QMD Rural School Bus Pilot Project, resolution 2018-19-7. This one's actually pretty good. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I'm gonna call on my acronym translator. Brent, what's it stand for?
Oh gosh, do I have the right one? Here's the right one. North Coast Unified Air Quality Management District.
This is the folks who were given from the Department of Ed and the legislature the ability to do bus grants for new buses. And districts had to decide between looking for electric bus or hybrid diesel bus. We chose to do hybrid diesel. An electric bus would be nice if it just ran around town, but they have a 100-mile radius. They struggle a little bit on uphill. And for example, we need buses that take kids to Covelo for a game. Well, a 100-mile radius is pushing it going to Covelo and back. And so electric buses really don't work for us very well. So we've applied for a grant for a hybrid diesel. We did the phase 1, they approved phase 1, they sent us this MOU to agree to, and there's a phase 2 part which we'll submit after this to get the bus purchased. So this is purchasing a brand new bus, about $170,000 bus. There's no match, so we're gonna get that bus. We have a second one in also, and I'm hoping next month we'll have the second one. So this is a great thing for the district. This was about $350,000, $370,000 on a fund balance. You almost spent just before I got here that we got for a grant. So that's good news. It's really tough to replace the bus fleet. It's hard to pull $170,000 together to buy a bus. And this should get us to it switches our diesel to a hybrid refined diesel, which we have a vendor for out of Ukiah. All of our buses will be able to run the new hybrid diesel. So their air quality will go up on all of the vehicles.
Obvious benefits in a lot of areas. Any public comment?
I do need to thank Terry and Maddie for really helping me get it done. Let's say I inspired them for their part and did my part.
Very good. Once again, it's a resolution. Mr. Chavez?
Oh, we need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and motion to approve the resolution 2018/19-7.
And a
I'll
second?
second it.
Karen? So it's been moved and seconded. Any board discussion? Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 And aye. Moving on to item G, approval of the MOU with Willits Kids Club 2018-19. This is a kind of annual thing.
This is the ACES grant that is run through the county that the Kids Club works underneath, and we are part of that. And
Any significant changes?
no, the Kids Club functions really well and efficiently, and they're very cooperative with us with making adjustments. When we changed bus times, for example, this year, because of changing start and stop times, they accommodated those without any apprehension. We work well with them. But I do want to mention the fact that often people think they are part of us. They're actually their own entity. And we don't control their employment, their hours, or the things they do. They just happen to exist on school property as their own entity.
Entertain a motion?
I move we approve.
Been moved
I'll second.
and seconded. Any board discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Carney?
Aye.
Mr. Colby? And myself, aye. Following that, we have H through W. These are all first read of policies. Great bedtime stuff.
Unbelievable.
We'll acknowledge that we have received those for first read, and we'll take a look at those again next board meeting, along with item number 11 from consent agenda. Beyond that, any public comments? Any items for the next agenda from the board?
What I probably will do, hopefully he'll be done signing stuff by then, but the governor is wearing his pen out, signing a bunch of stuff right now.
Noticed that.
Yeah, on his way out the door,
He's a lame duck.
he needs a stamp right now, he's signing so many things, so. Just simple things that are gonna impact us, for example, having the suicide prevention number on student ID cards. Okay, well,
AEDs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
there's a boatload of them.
CSBA just put out a list of
Right.
all kinds of stuff. I got maybe a quarter of the way through it so far.
Exactly.
Right.
Although the good news was he vetoed the late start.
Right. He vetoed the late start. But there's about 20 of those things he signed that I just want to make people aware of. And hopefully there won't be 30 by the next time we meet, but we need to go through those and make sure everybody knows those are compliance things we have to do.
Where do we stand with regard to having AEDs on our campuses and availability at sporting events, for example?
They're always at sporting, the high school has AED. Okay, and the training is done with a group of staff members.
It's
There are
done
some.
annually, I believe.
Hmm?
It's done annually,
Mhm.
and there's an AED at every school site.
Right, there's an AED at every school site. I don't think there's one at Sherwood.
There's not one.
How are they maintained?
It's like a battery check every so often they come through. Dan, is it the same guy who does the fire extinguishers, who does the AED?
No, it's a different person.
Yeah, but it's a,
That makes me feel a little better.
We just got a phone call, what, a month or so ago, that they were replacing the battery packs free of charge to the school district. We got a phone call from whoever gave to us at the beginning.
yeah, I don't remember who it is, but they are just like fire extinguishers, where you have a cycle you go through and check those, and every year it's part of training. When we have sporting events, especially football, the ambulance is here, and so they obviously have it in place.
Yeah, theirs is a little more sophisticated.
Right.
Okay. No items for the next board meeting?
I do want to do one more public comment
Okay.
that I missed. I want to thank the Bechtel staff and Maria for working through our tragedy we had for Monday. They did a great job as a staff of coming together and supporting the kids and doing the best you can with something that there's no good resolution to. And so, it was a tough day Monday at Bechtel, but it was handled very well by the staff and by the students. So, I appreciate that.
Public comment for items not on the agenda. And with that,
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You jumped on that.
all in favor?
I got the look.
Thank you.